I'm back with back-to-back uploads. I've done that in yikes. But today we're going to be talking about the Minnesota Timberwolves. I'm just going to say this in advance, as if you Timberwolves fans, if you see this, please do not slander my name. Like, just watch this like the first 30 seconds. Last year, I made a whole video saying Wolves in 5 when everybody was saying, "Oh, the Wolves had no chance." So I am a supporter of the Timberwolves. I love Rudy Gobert. I love watching Ant. I don't mind Julius Randle because I'm from New York. I like Julius Randle. So please, whatever I say in this video, it's not like intentional. It just concerns of the matter of what I have with the Timberwolves. The Timberwolves this year have been good. I think this year they were better than they were last year in a sense, because last year it was rough. They were like a 500 club at the start of the season. I think they're like maybe like they were really, it looked, that Julius Randle and Rudy Gobert lineups, it looked really rough. It was like 19 and 20. They were like 1 or 2 games above by 500, but they picked it up early on in the season and it became like a 48-49 win team. Maybe I think they cracked 49 wins. They still made the conference finals. And I said they had the personnel to me that could beat the Lakers. I thought they had three guys last year who can beat the LA team, because that's the biggest problem with the LA team was that the third worst player, the third best defender is going to be on Austin Reeves, but the third worst defender on the Minnesota Timberwolves was maybe Anthony Edwards, and then you still have Nickeil Alexander-Walker, and you had Jaden McDaniels. This year, some Lakers fans still don't think, like, real talk, for like, if you know who that is, you might not know this. He said they don't have, like, that's might be fool's gold, and they said some people, because there's still concerns, but I think it's like really close this year on who would win that matchup over the strength of the fact that there's no new Nickeil Alexander-Walker. Shout out to Nickeil. This year he has been amazing. That's like a really big piece that they lost this year, and every Timberwolves fan I see on Twitter just hate, like, they love to see him do successful, but they hate the fact that he's no longer on the team, and he's just that good. The man jumped from 9 points per game last year to fucking, sorry for cursing, my profanity, to 20 points per game, and like, man, I don't know why he's not getting more nods for most improved player, because his best averages before this year was 11 points per game, and now he's like damn near the second best player on a playoff contending team that's on a 6-8 win streak that might end up as a 5th seed. I don't know how many players deserve it over him this year. I'm just there for the candidates that are even on the race, but that's besides the fact that losing that, and this year it looked a little rough, the point guard position, because Mike Conley's old. It's like he's 40 years old. He got traded, waived, and was able to come back to the Timberwolves. That man didn't leave his house. So they made some good trades. They got Ayo Dosunmu. Shout out to Ayo Dosunmu. I didn't really see him too much as a Bull play. Like, I didn't watch the Bulls that much, but Ayo Dosunmu, what I've seen, man, against the Celtics 6 days ago, man, he was a bucket. That's a great move, and like a young player that they pick up, like they can pair with Anthony Edwards for a long time. Shout out to them for doing that addition. But the fact is, like, damn, what the Timberwolves fans I see on Twitter say they don't really have an identity. Like, they don't really have they won the last 2 years off of being a great defensive team. They're still a good defensive team. Rudy Gobert, shout out to him. Rudy Gobert is you're going to be a top 11, top 12 best defensive team in the league just off the strength of that alone. But the defensive ranking this year isn't. Timberwolves. Where do the Timberwolves rank in the NBA for defense? They're the 6th best defensive team in the league. But they're still a good defense. Like I said, Rudy Gobert this year, phenomenal. I think he's averaging in isolation alone was like 1-31. He blocked Kevin Durant. I've been watching the games. The last like 5-6 games I've sat there and watched. I just saw the Detroit Pistons game. I'm sorry about that if you watched that game. But Rudy Gobert is he stepped it up this year on the defensive end again. Like, man, if Wemby wasn't just a freak of nature, it would deadass be him. Shout out to Rudy Gobert. Daniel deserves 5 defensive player of the year. But just the fact that, like, teams like the Lakers this year, I just think it just looks more. It doesn't look easy as I thought it was last year for them, because the fact that is the favorable matchups. Julius Randle last year is a known playoff choker. He was bad. He's usually bad. New York fan here, I've seen some terrible hoops. 2021, terrible hoops. 2023, some terrible hoops. But he did his thing. But I think as a community, as a basketball fan, we have to acknowledge that he had favorable matchups. He had favorable matchups last year where it would have been really hard for him to not have good series. Last year, he was getting guarded by like all because they couldn't run a center, so they were running LeBron at the 5 or Jared Vanderbilt. So that means like the Jared Vanderbilt was guarding him and was guarding Rudy Gobert, and then the guy who would guard for Julius Randle, he saw Austin Reeves, he saw Luka, he saw LeBron James, like, and what watching Lakers fans say, they said, oh, just make him a jump shooter, make him take the long twos, and he'll leave you at the game. And they didn't do that. The plan wasn't do that. And some games he did make his twos, he did make his fadeaway twos, his long midi twos, and things of that nature. And he did that. Shout out to him. And then in the next series against the Golden State Warriors, as a Warriors fan, Jordan Poole in the background, mad Warriors videos. Curry went down. We won game 1, and the favorable matchup, I saw that guy on B pods. I saw him on 6'4" guards. I saw him on 6'5" guys. He was damn near the tallest person on the court, especially when Draymond Green was guarding Rudy Gobert. It was set up for him to succeed. It was favorable matchups. Doesn't mean like, oh, you jumped to top 15 status because you were having a top 10 run on the pace. He had favorable matchups, and shout out to him for executing. But once he saw OKC, he had one good game and one good half. I think game 4, when the Timberwolves lost the historic series, like the historic game where they beat them in damn near every category except for free throws, and they somehow still lost the game. That was the first time in NBA history that ever happened. The first half he was shooting amazing. Second half, none. Like Casey Wallace, Lou Dort wasn't going for any of that after a while. But he did his job. And this year, going against like a Lakers team, go against the Denver Nuggets team that might go have Aaron Gordon, going against OKC, it's gonna look rough. It's not gonna look the same. It's not gonna look the same. And just having that feel, there's a road where they might not work out the first round. Like DeAndre Ayton, I know has been terrible, bad, but he's outplayed Rudy Gobert. Like he's been in games and done better than Rudy Gobert in some of these games. I'm not saying every game, and I'm not saying DeAndre Gobert is better than Rudy Gobert. But having somebody that was 6'11", if you guys didn't notice, last year, Rudy Gobert, people would say, oh, Rudy Gobert dominated, but he only dominated one game. Most of those games he was having 2, 5, 7 points, 4 rebounds, 5 rebounds. He wasn't doing much, except for game 5, where he decided to drop 24 and 22. He wasn't, you gotta acknowledge that he wasn't doing that. And then after that of the playoffs, he was doing a job defensively, then got OKC, and then he was still good defensively, but then the nigga shot 36% from the field against Isaiah Hart and Chet Holmgren, but still a positive defender. It's just the offense was there. He became this year. He was a positive offensive player for like a good stretch of games. It doesn't look like that as much anymore, but he's averaging points. The putbacks, I really hope he can if he just shot 50% where like a big as he should, that's the biggest concern. And Anthony Edwards this year, phenomenal, 30 points per game. It won't be his fault that they lose. I just know Anthony Edwards, it won't be his fault. And then now going to the bench, Naz Reid is Naz Reid. He's gonna do what he's gonna give you 20. He's gonna give you 19. He's gonna be great. But Bones Highland is like, I love me some Bones Highland. The last game, like the last couple of game stretch, like I can just pull up on my phone. Ida Sumo. This was posted 6 days ago, so the updated stats might not be there. Valorant. Bones Highland for the 4-game stretch without Anthony Edwards, 20 points per game, 2 rebounds, 3 assists, and shooting 52% from the field. There's a reason why they didn't add the 3-point percentage in there, but I digress. It's just like you were really over dependent on a guy that has little to no playoff experience. He had 21 his rookie year. He played the Warriors and he was okay. Like I don't think he was doing much out there, but we wasn't concerned. I think he was giving 9 to like 5 points. And now that guy is really an option. And I just think I'm just looking like he's like one of those guys that it's either going to be really, really bad for him when he has to play a defense like an OKC, or he has to see the Denver Nuggets who always play better better defense when it comes to the postseason success. So I'm looking at him like, damn, he might be the guy that just ruins his payday. Like there's always one guy every playoff year where he was going to get a decent payday, and then he has one playoff series. Like what's his name last year, Ty Jerome. He burned that after that Pacers series. He destroyed it after because he was easily getting 100 mil after the Miami series after he averaged 30, and it's looking like that for Bones Island. I wouldn't be surprised. I hope he gets busy in the playoffs with like 6'2", small frame, and that nigga might see Lou Dort in the second round, Casey Wallace, Alex Caruso, Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, Jalen Williams, Chet Holmgren, and Isaiah Hart backline defense. I just make your open threes and just make your open threes. Like I said, this team, the past few years, the expectation is crazy for conference finals or bust or championship finals or bust. They have the chance to do it. I'm not saying it'll be the most far-fetched idea. It just seems like the top 3 teams in the East, the Lakers, Timberwolves, Lakers, OKC, and Nuggets, and like it's just highly unlikely this year. And I don't know how likely he was with Steph Curry, but they still did it. And Anthony Edwards always somehow finds a way. It always comes out to find a way. And hopefully they can make some improvements in the offseason. But like, hey, if you're a Timberwolves fan, you shouldn't be mad. You see conference final success for the past few years. This is easily the greatest stretch of your franchise history. And I just for this year, at least enjoy the ride. But hey, I'm KFB23 on YC. Just thank you for listening. I'm out. Peace.